I know you've talked before a little bit, but maybe just walk through a little bit about how the show even came to be, and what the instant reaction was when you were trying to pitch it around. Did people go, yeah?
We had a deal with Warner Brothers to write a script, and so we sat down, the two of us, and said, all right, what should we write about? And we said, well, we're tired moms.
We looked at each other's faces that looked really drab and tired.
So I guess we should write about a tired mom. And the other thing was, we really did want to, at the time, there wasn't a lot of shows out there. There wasn't any family shows, which we always loved. And also, there wasn't anything about the Midwest and just average people. And we felt like, for us, it was wish fulfillment because we sort of missed being in the Midwest, and we missed, we just felt like these people are heroes and they deserve their own show. And so we sort of combined those two things. And then we went out and pitched it, and we pitched it to ABC, and they were just hysterical.
We intended for the show to be, in our minds, we'd written on Roseanne years ago and loved that writing, and we really missed it. And we believed it really was an ABC show, but we trotted around to all the networks and saved ABC for last because we really felt that was the place it belonged. And fortunately, we were right because they were excited. But I also brought my son Justin, who's here tonight, inspired a lot of Brick's antics from when he was younger, and he had a particularly kooky school picture that I brought with me to the pitch. And I just went, let me talk about Brick, and everyone just went, oh my God! And so thank you, Justin, for helping the middle.
He knew you used that, right? Did he sign off on that?
Yeah, he did. He's okay. I think he knows that happened. But they got what we were doing, and the thing that was funny is it was a really simple concept in the time of very complicated concepts, and so sometimes it doesn't sound that exciting to people to say, well, it's about a family and they're doing the best they can. But as a mom point of view, we felt there hadn't been a mom voiceover and a mom point of view, and people seemed to get it. And I would say that the show kind of had a long inception. It had made an earlier pilot with different casting, and then the economy tanked and made it even more relevant, and then it came alive again, and all these wonderful people were available. But I think it's a show that people got from the beginning. It wasn't like we started with one thing and then it grew and expanded from what we began with. But I think it is the show that we intended to make, which is really nice because I don't know how often you get to say that.
Not very often. So I'm curious, with mentioning your son, I'm curious, have any other family members been embarrassed by anything that's said on the show for any of you guys?
I'm not so much embarrassed. Like I said, we definitely draw from things. Actually, in tonight's episode, Mother's Day episode, Axel gives Frankie a verbal Mother's Day card because obviously he didn't go out. And that actually happened. My daughter, for anniversary, my younger daughter got us a card, and she said, "Yeah, I'm going with the verbal card this year." And so she did that. And so, but then sometimes it turns into, "I want you to use something from my life," or "Why didn't you know?" So. Yeah.
People get
they're usually they're okay usually.
We try to not embarrass them. They know now. I think at the beginning, sometimes we embarrass them more, but I hope they like it now, and I think their friends like it. So, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm curious at what point you guys maybe everybody realized you're really on to something. I don't know if it's fan feedback or like you're out and somebody comes up and says, "I loved episode whatever." Have you guys had that either a moment from the outside or just reading a script and you go, "Wow, this is it."
We write them, so we can't say that.
I don't know if you've had a moment like that. Have you had a moment?
I think after you get so long to work on a pilot, it always seems to be just too long. It's a year or more of 25 pages of a script that, to me, keep on making TV the way you make TV. But it seems to me like that's no proof that you're going to write another episode as well, because you don't get a year. You get a very short time, and you have to do it week after week after week. And so, not that I was skeptical, but I was impressed from the beginning that the first week after the pilot, and then the second one, and then the third, reading the script, you're going, this is really good. This is as good as the pilot or better. And they just kept coming, and whatever your question was, I just wanted to know.
It's better than the question.
It's funny, though, because you don't think that these poor actors sign on with one script.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know what the show is. I'm going to write it. But, you want to follow up and hope everyone likes the things you do feature. But after the first script, I remember Patty said, "Oh, thank you. No, I really liked it." And Neil was like, "Oh, this is really good." And
yes.
It was a relief.
It is scary because you do have to kind of commit a long time of your life to something. And, God forbid, it's not very well written and extremely successful, and then it's hard to. But and I agree with Neil. I was just, we got the first script. I was like, oh yes, it's really good. I was going to say something else about. I can't remember.
Well, it was pretty incredible, I have to say, that from the pilot, because this amazing cast, I mean, it
seriously.
felt really solid. So many pilots go through, where we have to recast this role, and now we have to do this, and now and there's all these changes, and and for us, it was just like, it sort of, it was what it was, and they're so solid and so strong. It didn't feel, the first couple episodes didn't feel like it was new. It felt like we've been working together for a long time, and everyone just hit the ground running.
Well, we
and
felt
it was nice to feel that.
When we heard them read it, when we heard the, you hear the cast, you cast one, and then like Patty and Neil read, you kind of put little combos together, but you don't get to hear the whole thing read, and that's like really terrifying for a writer the day of that table read of the pilot, because it's really sink or swim that day. And when we heard them all read it, you just don't even want to believe that, you get really excited. It's a thrill, but you don't let yourself fall in love because you're scared of being hurt. But that's when you're so excited, because there it is, and they're making it better than a piece of paper.
I think also there's something about reading a multi-camera script that even if it's not that great, it's easier to change, I think, a multi-camera, right? I mean, you can really make a lot of changes, but with a single camera, there's so much pre-production that has to happen.
You can't do it the last minute.
That you can't
be building sets.
No, and it's if you have locations and stuff, it's just much more complicated. So what you see on the page is pretty much what you're going to be doing, and so you have to really believe in it. So
I think part of the success of the show is trusting what's on the page, and like a lot of shows, and especially like Saturday Night Live and the Groundlings, where I came from and Neil came from, Second City, is the improvisation and having that last minute feeling like Apatow does in a lot of his films. It just lets the reel go and film and all that stuff, but just letting it go. But this, unlike that process, here we just trust the writers and the producers, and we just trust it, and it just, having that trust really allows for the show to work beautifully, and that's.
And you also don't, but you also don't have, you don't have time to try to work anything out on your own.
Yeah, you don't. No.
I mean,
You don't really need to add anything because it's so good there. It's right there on paper.
Right, and thankfully, you do trust that. And I think I said this in another interview that the writer of that episode is on the set. Eileen is always on the set, almost always, and DeAnn's back up in the room. Work with the writers, but Eileen is there, and she knows exactly in her mind and in DeAnn's mind how it's supposed to sound and how it's supposed to look. So, and then Alex.
Yeah, and Alex.
What's Alex's actual title? Exec producer?
He's co-head producer.
Co-head producer. He's really great also, and so we're always in good hands, and I'm more often than not just saying, how do you want me to say this line?
Betty also said she hears if we cough or go, I think what is it? Just say what
I can hear them back me up. I go, what do you want? Just tell me. Don't be whispering back there. We gotta go, I got things to do. So you just have to, thankfully, we trust all these people. And then we've just been fortunate to have great directors too, who seem to really know how to work with actors along with how to move the cameras.
I think it's safe. I mean, we're really lucky, and everyone I'm sure gets up and says, we have so much fun. But we really do, and because they say trust, I mean, for writers too, for actors it can be scary, for writers it can be scary. If you work really hard and you come to work and then people just go, this sucks, what were you doing? And sometimes it does suck, but you'd like someone not to say that to you because it hurts your feelings and then nobody feels safe. And so we try to just know you can, that we trust each other, and even if something is, because that's not to say that there's not stuff we do and they go, that sounds a little funny to me, and then we go, okay, yeah, I get it, that wasn't right. And so it's just about a give and take. Like one half can't do it without the other. Right.
And it's a happy set.
It really is, I have to say. Everyone is so lovely, and a lot of times as executive producer, you find yourself having to manage, a lot of egos and personalities, and everyone here is lovely, I have to say, which is great.
I was gonna, because the writing is important.
We signed a gag order.
Leave the lunch at the steps.
He's great, except his trailer's right next to mine, and the cigar smoke.
And the girls going in and out is like.
I always got my eye on Atticus. Our little thing that says I'm always like this.
Where's my free iPod?
I wondered who was going to get the Inquirer trip, who the Inquirer follows. So apparently you're going to be the one with the tabloids out in front.